Right now at Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory, save 50 to 70% off everything in stores and online. That's right, 50 to 70% off everything. Celebrate the 4th with dresses from $19.99 at Banana Republic Factory. And at Gap Factory stores, tees start at $4.99. Plus, save an extra 40% off clearance. Sale ends Tuesday. Search our store locator for your nearest Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory store or shop us online.
Welcome to the war room. We got Dez, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the hot block commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Roll with the topic, sorta like some rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th for the war in Kuwait. It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
Yes, sir. What's good, War Room family? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dez McMillan. I'm at the round table with my guy, B. Austin. The NBA draft will commence in about an hour live. So we're going to talk draft and everything NBA. But before we do that, make sure you join us right now in the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room. Or join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 30 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. We got a few quick shout-outs before we start the show throughout the week. Be sure to check out all of our network mates on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. Besides our own podcast, you can also listen to shows such as the Broad Street Line and the Broad Street Line Express with Roy and Chris. The Tissue and the Tape Hip Hop Show with Phil and Savad. John Appetit for all you foodies out there with the Burtons. No Look Past podcast if you love NBA basketball with Frank and Andy. On the Couch with the Wilsons if you're a movie or TV head, and a whole lot more. Just visit warroomsports.com, click the WRS Podcast Network tab, or go to our free mobile app and click the network tab there. And I also want to give a shout out to Robin Vandenberg of Bump and Run, for all you NASCAR fans who listen to Bump and Run on the network. Robin will no longer be doing that podcast. Hopefully we can get her to come back one day. But so I'm going to, even though she called it quits, I'm going to call it a hiatus because I know how she loves it. I know how her fans love the show.
Robin, we love you. Come back, Robin.
Fully expect Robin to be back on these airwaves sometime in the future. But shout out to her and best of luck in all future endeavors. Shout out to Bump and Run. Listen, B, man, another tough week for the culture, my brother. We lost another titan, man, from our favorite era of hip-hop. Rest in peace to the God. My man, Crime Rhyme Houdini P. Prodigy from MOBB. He's gone, dog. What were your thoughts when you heard that, man? I know, you know, just as well as myself, how big of a Mob fan that you are. You know, how'd that hit you?
And to our listeners, yes, we are a sports show, but if you've been rocking with us for any length of time, you know that hip-hop runs through our bloodstream. And being as though I'm 3 years away from being a man, I've grown, and I can honestly admit, when I heard the news, I was actually preparing a dish in the kitchen with a lot of onions. And yes, real men do cook. And my eyes began to water. Now, I'm not saying I was crying because Prodigy of Mobb Deep, Queensbridge, but really from Long Island, Albert Johnson, I'm not saying that I was crying. What I'm saying is that I was in the kitchen and I was cutting onions, and it made my eyes water, man, because the mob means so much to just everybody who grew up in the late 80s, the 90s, even into the 2000s, Mobb Deep is like cult legends, man. And Prodigy at one point in time was probably one of the iller lyricists, more from a flow and content standpoint. Them dudes could figure out more metaphors for killing people and moving that work.
Yo, nobody in the game talk tough like P, and he's like 5'5".
No one was tougher, and they were smurfs. Like they were literally midgets, but they talked so tough. They had the jails on smash, the streets on smash, but also salute to P, because later on in life, I would say probably around the time he hit maybe 30, 32, the last 10 years of his career, there's a level of introspection that he went through that reflected itself in his art and his music. The brother was a very intelligent, articulate, and well-read brother. He was definitely about, empowerment and community, even though, growing up, when he grew up, it's kind of like all of us, either you had a wicked jump shot or you were slinging crack rock. Now, I'm not saying which he did or which we did, but that's what it was, and it was reflected in his music. But the Mob had so many classic hits that defined, my childhood and my young adulthood, that I'm just thankful that I had an opportunity to be a fan of theirs. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that loosely, because I don't tell many other men anywhere in the universe that I'm a fan of theirs. But I can honestly say I was a fan of Mobb Deep.
Stan, and I always say it, between years of like 95 to maybe like 99, in my opinion, Prodigy was top 5 in the game as far as lyrics were concerned. Like Mobb Deep's music already make me, like, certain songs make me like a little bit emotional because I feel them that much.
Yeah.
And I consider it, quote unquote, real hip hop. But you can do what you want in the kitchen with them onions. Yo, when I heard this, I shed some thug tears. Prodigy, I mean, music is so important in people's lives, and you know what kind of hip hop heads we are and have been. Every song can take you back to a timestamp, like a timestamp. It takes you back to a certain time in your life. In 2017, there's not a week that goes by that I don't listen to Mobb Deep music. So, and the crazier than that, like, I just saw P 2 weeks ago performing at the Roots Picnic. So to hear that news after just seeing him alive and well on stage, it's crazy. So, we're not going to take the whole show to give our shout outs and reminisce on P and the Mob, but definitely rest in power. Good brother. He had a great run.
Just to bring about a lighter mood, because I'm gonna get sad and I might shed a thug tear on air.
We're about to talk hoops for like 2 hours.
But you kind of stole my thunder, and my thunder was gonna be hip hop related. And I know that we shared in the locker room. Royce the 5'9" dropped a mixtape called the Bar Exam 4. Actually going to be my answer for the rest of the month. I was just going to say, to every question and every topic you brought up, Royce the 5'9", Bar Exam 4. It is that good. It is that good that it has nothing to do with sport. But, I don't know. The way Royce be shooting at these current MCs, you could say that's sport, because he called out everybody in their mama that ever picked up a microphone or wrote on a piece of paper. All right,
good brother. We're shouting out P right now. All right, cool.
My bad.
All right, Royce.
My bad.
I mess with Royce too. We were shooting out P, man. But let's get into what happened this week while everybody was on that good grind. And if you'd like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, including that NFL Sunday ticket, which you will need in a matter of, make sure you go to our website, warroomsports.com, click on the DirecTV logo, order yourself a better TV experience at a discounted War Room Sports sign-up rate. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to have DirecTV. And speaking of, NFL and needing that Sunday ticket in a few months, Derek Carr has just become the highest paid player in NFL history with his 5-year, $125 million deal. The market is going crazy in all sports right now. There's so much money out there to be had. I had a lot of people coming to me like, oh, man, they stupid for giving him that kind of money. But, people have to realize.
No, they are not.
You have to realize what the market demands at certain points in history. And though he has the largest contract in NFL history, it's not saying that he's the greatest quarterback in NFL history, but that's what the market is bearing right now. Kirk Cousins is about to make $24 million plus off of a franchise tag. So that has to show you where it is and what it's about to be, in the near future for the NFL and what kind of checks they're going to be doling out to people. So shout out to Derek Carr. I have no qualm with it, and I have no beef with him or the Raiders unless, my team meets them in the Super Bowl one day, but I'm not thinking about that right now. So I hope he goes out there and proves that he's worth every penny of what they're going to pay him. So Derek Carr.
I think people aren't even realizing, to your point, the marketplace, right? So you have to look at it just as you would look at real estate. Who's the guy that graduated from Harvard that be fooling people and stealing money?
Fitzpatrick.
That played for the Jets.
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick. He signed a contract recently that paid him like $14 million a season. And Derek Carr is head and shoulders better than Fitzpatrick. So that should show you where the market is. Mediocre quarterbacks make 12 to 15 million. So
you two aren't even
Derek
sure
Carr
to
is
keep
by no
starting
means
job
mediocre
throughout the whole season. Yeah, that is crazy. But did you hear about Keyshawn? Keyshawn, just give me the damn ball, Johnson. His son played wide receiver at the University of Nebraska. Now, Keyshawn took his son. He pulled his son from the team, he said, maybe for 6 months.
Good fatherhood.
Because his son got busted in his dorm room for weed. So, Keyshawn basically, let me quote him. He said, at the end of the day, I don't think that the decision was in his hands. He squandered that decision. He still wants to play football, and he still wants to play for Nebraska. But if you don't do the things you're supposed to do under the guidelines of me, it's not going to happen. One thing you will not do as my son is you will not embarrass Nebraska, you will not embarrass Mike Riley, and you will not embarrass this family. If you mature and you're ready to resume your football career and academic goals, then Nebraska will be ready to embrace you. Daddy, pretty much. What did you just say? You said great parenting. You like this?
Yeah, I think he's doing his job. I mean, the young man is a little old for Keyshawn to kind of hard
to put him on punishment.
But yeah, who am I to tell him what he should and shouldn't do with his son, who is probably still considered a dependent, at least at 21, and he ain't 21. So, I ain't mad at it. I think it's good parenting.
Yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity that he has to live out his dream and possibly go to the NFL and be his own independent man. But yeah, I mean, you can look at it from two sides. Like you said, he might be a little old for Keyshawn to be making these type of
right. But Keyshawn is drawn.
This type of consequence for something that he's done, and I'm assuming. Now, this is the assumption right here. I don't know whether or not Keyshawn's son is on scholarship at this university, because if he's not, and Keyshawn is paying for him to go to this university as a walk-on, then all bets are off, and I 100% support every little bit of it. Now, I have these type of problems. I have a 5-year-old, so I'm nowhere near where Keyshawn is in this situation. But, I'm always preaching to him that all these sports that you like and everything that you like to play, you have to do what's right in school and in life for you to continue to do this stuff, because this stuff is a privilege. Then, on the other hand, when something goes down, like I say, he's only 5 in kindergarten, but if he gets like a bad report for his behavior all week in school, then it kind of puts me to the test. Like, damn, do I let him play this weekend or do I not? Then you start coming up with excuses for yourself as a parent. Like,
that's going to be the biggest. That's going to be the biggest challenge in your career, brother.
It really is, because being former athlete on, at least those levels, little league, high school, little bit of, whatever in college, intramurals or whatever, you're kind of living vicariously through your kids at this point. So you really don't want them to beat as far as learning the game and playing and getting all the experience. So when something does happen, it's kind of like you're put in this position where, like, damn, I didn't want to have to make this decision. But then when you just let them go ahead and play, you look like a punk or a bad parent because you're not enforcing the things that you said. But the other side of you, the person on your shoulder, is like, yo, dog, he learning fast. He could be good, man. We can't take this away from him. Like, where do you find yourself in the mix with stuff like that?
That's a great question. And to Keyshawn Johnson Jr., I have heard, and this is second, if not third hand, I have heard that he was an All-American coming out of high school. So I doubt very much that he is not on scholarship. That's the first. Right. I believe that he is, because he was ranked in the top 100 overall coming out of high school. And the other piece to that is I've also heard that he was also going to redshirt this year, possibly. Anyway, so there's a chance that you'll see him hit the field for his full 4 years unless he leaves early anyway.
So maybe this is just a little bit of flexing on Keyshawn Sr.'s part?
Yeah, Keyshawn Sr. is a draw daddy.
Is taking him out of practice.
Right. Jaimin is just turned 9, and he's been playing soccer for 2.5 years, and is developing into a pretty good. Nah, I ain't gonna say that. He's damn good. He's really good, and we face this all the time because we're monitoring his grade and monitoring his behavior. He's not a bad kid, so I don't run into the behavior issues as much as laziness with the academics, which when you're 9 years old, if you're starting that now, that's like, So we definitely have to stay on top of him, and it's a total challenge, as it is going to be for you as you see Chase, or you see your little guy grow within the game at 1, if not 2, maybe even 3 sports. You start to look at his game and sports as something you love. As you say, you're living vicariously through him. My favorite activity isn't watching the Eagles. It isn't watching the Sixers anymore. It's actually watching my son play his sport. So when he messes up, it's almost like I have to put myself on punishment now, because now I can't watch you play, because I love to watch you play as much as anything else. But you got to stick to it because you're teaching him.
Keyshawn Jr. was he was ranked 293 in the ESPN 300, but he was 40th in his position, 52nd regional, and 30th in the state. He was offered by Nebraska, which he signed, Alabama, Arizona State, Boise State, California, Clemson, Florida State, Kansas State, Kentucky, Louisville, Miami, Mississippi State, Ohio State, Ole Miss, San Diego State, SMU, Syracuse, Tennessee, UCLA, USC, Utah, Wake Forest, and West Virginia. So, yes, the young man is definitely on scholarship. Keyshawn is not paying his college tuition. So this brings a little bit of difference in my opinion, but at the end of the day, that's still your father. He's still your son. And at this point, like you said, just because he has a scholarship doesn't mean he's independent in life. So I guess Keyshawn's like, look, as long as you're going to be, as long as you're a dependent of mine, you're going to do as I say and say as I do. So it's an interesting situation. But shout out to the young man. I hope this doesn't, a lot of people we see go down this path and it becomes a problem for them. Like we know some people, shout out to the homie, the receiver from Cleveland, who just can't stop smoking weed. Like he just can't. No matter how many times your livelihood is right. So shout out to him. And I hope, the Keyshawns work this out. Yo, your man.
We all also know. Go ahead.
I was saying, your man, Stephon Marbury, man, we've documented his rise to super duper stardom over in China. Yo, he has a movie coming out, Chinese movie. Because if you've seen the trailer, all the words are in Chinese characters, Mandarin characters. So somebody over there has directed, produced a biopic about Stephon Marbury and his successful post-NBA career.
But he hasn't retired yet.
My Other Home. It's set to release in July. And, we've seen the trailer already. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, just go to YouTube and look up My Other Home, Stephon Marbury. The funny thing about it, I'm not even going to tell who's in the trailer because that'll be the surprise for a lot of people like it was for us. But what are your thoughts? We talked about this over the past 4 or 5 years. This dude is like the Michael Jordan of China. A biopic, though, B?
Yo, a biopic. Listen, you're not giving the full context. A biopic, and he's not retired. He's not retired.
Because he already has a statue in front of the arena. He has a statue, and we thought that was like as crazy as it was gonna get. He has a biopic.
But wait, how do you get a biopic if you're not done? Like, what if he wins the championship this upcoming season? They missed that in the movie. Now he's already won 3 chips over there. I look at this in 2 ways. Number one, you and I both have always been pretty sizable Steph supporters, if not fans. Like I've always, the thing that drowns that out obviously is who he came into the league with. There's a couple of other guys, i.e. Iverson, Kobe, to some degree, B. Diddy, but I've always been a huge supporter. So it makes me so happy to see him realizing huge success over there, because it's also a way for him to kind of stick it to the NBA and the powers that be, without it being truly vindictive. It's not a vindictive sticking it to them. It's just China appreciates him and what he brings to the table, and he's been able to grow and mature and show the brighter side to his personality without eating Vaseline on camera. I mean, I'm proud of the dude, but I believe that the Chinese people deserve a JoJo award, not Steph, because you can't help them loving you and deifying you. But the Chinese people, you can't give a dude a full-on biopic and he ain't retired yet. You can't give him a full biopic.
Gave him a statue and he wasn't retired. So the biopic was just a matter of time. The statue will live forever. The movie could flop. Statue can live forever unless people vandalize it, knock it down, or whatever.
Chinese people ain't gonna let it flop.
The only player I remember in basketball who had a statue before retiring was Michael Jordan, but that was because he had retired. Before they put that outside of the arena, and he came back. So, he probably was the only dude in the league playing with a statue out front, with a jersey in the rafters, and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, he's Michael Jordan. Steph is obviously the Michael Jordan of Chinese basketball, because every time we turn around, they're doing something else to praise this man. Not even praise, like worship this man, like at his feet at the altar. Steph is that dude over there. Everybody go check out,
because
and you know, the Chinese movie producers cut a check, but everybody go check out the trailer for what did I say it was called? My Other Home.
Man, I don't know what
the
Steph
Marbury, and I hope to be able to see it. I want to see it. I've always been a Steph fan. I think he kind of got a bad rap.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come here. Man,
and
in
I
the
don't
NBA,
think,
he was 18-8.
And I don't think, you know, eating Vaseline was the worst thing in the world. I think crying while you were doing it and looking totally crazy, that was another thing. Like, I've had some sore throats where I immediately thought of Steph, like, yo, I could try some Vaseline right now, the way my throat feels. But if I'm on camera with it, I mean, and I've never done it, but if I'm on camera with it and I'm crying and just looking unstable, and that's when the actual act of eating the Vaseline takes on a whole new, you know what I mean? It just makes it worse. Like, first you're eating Vaseline.
Yeah.
Could forgive that if you weren't crying when you were doing it. Music playing in the background.
Why was he crying?
That was going through some stuff, man.
What was he crying for?
He probably, you know, at that time, he knew he was going over to China. He probably thought that was a bad thing. And now look at him. He's a god. He's like Buddha. Shout out to Steph Buddha.
Yeah.
All right. So, ex-UFC fighter Tim Hague dies after being knocked out in a boxing match. Like, I don't know why, but that immediately made me think of this clown show that Mayweather and Conor McGregor are about to put on, because, you know, so many people are out there saying, well, he's never been in an actual boxing match. He might not even get a punch off, a clean punch off on Mayweather and all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm not saying that's why Tim Hague died, because he was so overmatched, because he was in a boxing match and he was an MMA veteran. But at the same time, you know, he was 34 years old. He had only fought 5 times in the UFC, and I believe he fought 3 times in boxing. He was 1-2 and had been knocked out 40 seconds into his previous fight. So he wasn't very good. Maybe he just couldn't fight. But the family announced that he had suffered a brain hemorrhage and was in critical condition. And then he ended up passing away. My thing is this could basically happen to anybody, experienced or not, in a boxing ring, in an MMA octagon, or anything like that. We've always questioned, like, what kind of person do you have to be to go out and punch in your head for a living? And, you know, rest in peace to this, you know, this guy.
Yo, I'm not even
gonna
say. I thought of McGregor and Mayweather as well. I'm not going to say what I thought, because it's completely morbid and inappropriate. But I don't think that we will see any such happening in this Trav Shamockery. Rest in peace to the gentleman. You stepped into the squared circle, and as a result of that, you passed on. Yeah, woof. On another note, I've decided I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to watch that clown show. I'm not going to do it. They don't deserve it.
There's been a lot of boxing matches in history that I definitely deemed a clown show before they happened. I don't totally take the official boycott route. I just don't pay for it myself. Somebody else want to pay for that bull crap and invite me over, and it's not too far, because I'm not going to travel too far to do it either, then I'm all good. You know, if I got a neighbor who's going to pay for it, but, you know, much along the same lines as you, I'm definitely not going to pay for it. You know, I haven't paid for a lot of the hand-picked matches that Floyd has done in the past few years. So, all right, so before we get to the phone lines real quick, and we also have a special guest joining us to talk all of this NBA draft and just NBA offseason talk. Our homie, the NBA correspondent, Joel Rodriguez, he'll be with us in a few minutes, but we're going to give some quick birthday shout-outs and take some calls real quick. So before we give those birthday shout-outs, I've got to let you guys know that birthdays are brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your business need a custom website? Sure you do. Sure you do, because if you don't think you do, then you're not running a very good business. Anyway, for dynamic, professional, most of all, affordable custom website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence, top quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable prices. And yes, financing options are available. So all you have to do is visit digitalextremetech.com or call 267-205-4203. And for discounted rates, a little bit of the hookup, make sure you let them know that the homies from War Room Sports sent you right on over there.
My birthday, yay!
All right, birthdays today. Probably one of the best cornerbacks to ever do it. Top 10 of all time in my estimation. The homie Champion Bailey turns 39. Shout out to him. Corey Alexander, former NBA player Corey Alexander, formerly of the University of Virginia. They had a nice little squad back when he played. He turned 44 today. Shout out to him. Kurt Warner, the borderline Hall of Famer. Did Kurt Warner, did he get Hall of Fame yet?
Yeah,
he did. I think he is. He did? How the hell did I miss that?
Yeah.
I'm sure I didn't miss it. But,
yeah.
All right, so.
You said borderline? You don't think he deserves it?
Oh, yeah. I'm tripping. He just got in, didn't he? Like a few months ago.
Just got in.
So, wait. So, is he in this class? Like, he's going to be inducted once they do the Hall of Fame game in August?
No.
Yeah. I think that's the case. I think he's been named. And then once the Hall of Fame game comes up in August, he's going to be inducted. He was 2017 Yeah, he's a 2017 inductee. So shout out to him anyway. It's his birthday. We all know his story. 46 years old. Darrell Armstrong. Remember Darrell Armstrong? He's 49 years old.
Darrell Armstrong.
I remember Allen Iverson.
Darrell Armstrong was. He was 40. He was 40 when he was in the league.
I know he was one of them dudes that didn't get in right away.
He didn't get in till he was 31.
That's why that's crazy because you look at when he played. When was his quote unquote prime? He probably didn't get into the league until after his prime, but he's 49 years old, and Clyde Drexler, who's next on our list, is 55 years old. This dude is only 6 years younger than Clyde the Glide. Shout out to Clyde, and we want to give a rest in peace shout out to Pistol Pete Maravich, who was born June 22nd, 1987, and died January 5th, 1988. So we'd like to give a nice big War Room salute to all of these folks on their birthdays. Happy birthday, homies.
My birthday, yay!
If there was only a
all
three-point
right,
line when Pistol played.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'm gonna let you guys know how you can get in touch with us. And on the other side of that is Hoop Central from here on out. Our homie Joel Rodriguez is going to join us for that Hoops Talk, and we're going to take the call process. So you guys can check out our website at warroomsports.com. While you're there, take your time, look around, click on that Contact Us tab. If you feel the need to talk to us, if you want to send a message about the company, the show, to inquire about business, sponsorship, advertising opportunity, joining the network, whatever, just make sure you click that. For general inquiries, email us at info@warroomsports.com. Browsing the site, click on the memorabilia tab. That's War Room Sports merchandise. That's small baller brand, we like to call it. Click the blog tab to read our latest articles on the All's Fair in Sports and War blog. Then click the respective icons and tabs to follow all of our social media platforms, to watch our webcast at War Room Sports TV, to listen to the WRS Podcast Network, and to download our free War Room Sports mobile app to get everything I just mentioned on the go. Join the JW Philly Realty chat room right now during the show at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room. To enter the chat room, up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't want to do that, you can just follow. You can sign into your Facebook and Twitter accounts, and while you're there, make sure you click follow, because that'll get you updates and reminders about the show every week. We'll also be taking questions and reading posts from from Facebook, Twitter, and the chat room during the show. But if you want to call in and speak with us, the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline is now open. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. An NBA Wrap, of course, is brought to you by Sports the Book. Tired of reading the same old sports book? Tired of old sports lists, rankings, imaginary starting lineups, and these bogus GOAT conversations? Well, be sure to pick up your copy of Sports. Smart people only read the sports. It's the Illmatic of sports books, and this mixture of sports and hip-hop culture will keep you mesmerized and cracking up, might I add, from beginning to end. Just go to sportsthebook.com and get your copy from our website at warroomsports.com. But whatever you do and wherever you decide to get your literature, just don't miss the movement. And shout out to our homie, our partner, Jimmy, the Blueprint, because he has a book that was released yesterday. This one is not sports related. You should pick it up anyway. It's called Own Your Time and Space. It's a very good read. I would call it inspirational. He's dropping a lot of jewels, dropping a lot of knowledge, and he's telling you folks out there, just how to free up your own life, your own time, your own space to do what you need to do in life. So make sure you pick that up as well. If you need the info on that, just hit us on one of the platforms that I just told you, and we'll get you all the information you need. All right, V, the draft is tonight. And let's take a quick call real quick, because I know Tobias has been waiting on the line to say what he needs to say. So, Tobias, what's going on, good brother? You're in the war room.
Roll down time, baby. That's all I got to say. All right. This NBA free, like the trades, the draft talk, it's been pretty fascinating. One thing that's pretty fascinating is, so we talk about in the group chat, how Kevin Love's stock has fallen. And like about 3 years ago, the Bulls would have, or like the Pacers would have taken Kevin Love. But now they aren't. But to be honest with you, if you're trying to dump Kevin Love on me, I'll be like, look here, man. Even though I'm not the biggest Kyrie fan, I would say, give me Kyrie. We got nothing to talk about. You know, I think some of the things are doing that.
I guess I can't fully disagree with the notion that Kevin Love's stock has fallen, but I don't think the fact that like the Pacers and teams like that not taking him on right now, I don't think it's fully. I don't think his stock is necessarily the issue. Like a lot of these teams are announcing publicly that they're trying to rebuild, quote unquote. They're trying to get younger. So Kevin Love doesn't fit that bill. Like if you're a team that thinks you might be one player away, then that might be the type of guy that you want to trade for. But if you're the Pacers and you're talking about getting younger and you're talking about, rebuilding, then why would you even consider taking a flyer on Kevin Love? And if that's all Cleveland has to offer these teams who are in rebuild mode, then they're going to have a really tough time trying to get, who they need to help them win their next championship. Because, look, everybody's in rebuild mode right now because people are looking at it this way. We're not going to beat the Warriors. We're not going to beat Cleveland. So it's time to get younger and be ready to pounce when those dudes get old. So what the hell do we need a Kevin Love for?
There's also blame G on LeBron for that when they trade all those draft picks every year. When they got rid of two first-round picks. Maybe late first-round picks. But people understand late first-round picks are still like cheap bodies, like cheap labor out there. I hate having to say it that way, but look at San Antonio, all those late first-round picks they have, saving money. But see, here you don't have that as a bargaining chip. But remember, they gave up 2 first-round picks with Mozgov, gave up picks to get J.R. Smith and Shumpert to get older, and now they're stuck.
Yo, they I forgot they gave up picks for Shumpert and J.R. Wow.
LeBron kind of coaxes the organization into giving these guys long-term contracts too, and then he gets tired of them. So then when the team is stuck in that kind of situation, then the rumors come out about LeBron just bolting the situation altogether. But who you got? Your Bulls got what? Do they have a pick in the first round?
This is what's gonna happen. The same thing they do every year. Some unathletic, slow white guy, a catch and shoot guy in the NCAA, 4-year senior. Yes. Or they gonna pick the only guard ever, shot Denzel Valentine, who was so slow in the combine last year. Only 2 centers ran slower than him. So they gonna go for some 4-year college guy talking about he's a winner. But I'll say this real quick. I think my Bulls will trade Jimmy Butler because Dwayne Wade took the money, which he knew. But they're not going to get any better. They're just going to be the 7th or 8th seed. Maybe they should.
I think they're really open to it. Jimmy Butler said recently that he wants to stay in Chicago, but that might be lip service as well.
Yeah, and I'll say this real quick because I know Butler, because after a while, you got to get tired of being a 7 or 8 seed. It means you're stuck. But the thing is, I'll say this real quick also. Boston, if what New York wants from Boston to give them for Porzingis, Boston got to do it. Because, most of these drafts stink anyway. And also, you still going to have this guy on a rookie deal. That is something that people aren't getting. And if you really Jay Crowder's a nice guy. Jaylen Brown's a young player, but at the same time for the Knicks, they may get draft picks from guys they can start in their lineup as well. So if I'm Boston, I'm doing it.
All right, well, just make sure you stay tuned in because our special guest is actually deep in basketball in the New York area. Full disclosure, he's a Knicks fan, so we're definitely going to get his perspective on the whole Porzingis thing. So, Tobias, we will holler at you next week. Good brother, thanks for your call. We appreciate it as usual. Make sure you stay tuned in as long as you can.
All right, appreciate it, fellas.
Let's be honest here. All right, brother. Let's see.
Hey, so right now we are going to bring our special guest onto the line. He's going to talk hoops with us for the next hour and 20 minutes. We got the homie straight out of NY, like I just said, Joel Rodriguez. What's going on, big brother?
Yo, what's going on? Can y'all hear me? I got you on speaker for a minute.
Yes,
sir. Absolutely. WRCN Deportes is in the building.
It's draft time, man. It's draft night. A lot of exciting things happening. We just going down some of these topics, man. We're hoping that you could rock out with us for the rest of the show if you can. Like I told the caller just now, in a few minutes we will get New York Knicks situation because I don't know if you have any more insight to give us. You might be just as confused about things as we are, but we're going to hash it out right here on the show. But before we do that, let's go to the big news that happened earlier in the week. The Sixers and Celtics make a deal for the number 1 pick. The Sixers, by all accounts, are going to use that pick to pick up Markelle Fultz. The Celtics, on the other hand, seem to be in stack mode to try to make another move, maybe during, after, whenever, the draft. But the Celtics and Danny Ainge just don't seem like they're done or going to be done anytime soon. How did you like that deal for both sides, Joel?
I like the deal. I can't really judge it on Boston's part because, like you said, it looks like Boston's not done yet. So I kind of want to see what they do. If they flip this number 1 to the number 3 and then they package that and get Paul George or Porzingis, then damn, that's a really good deal because they pretty much just traded the number 1 pick for PG or KP, and that's a good look. As far as Philly goes, I'm really excited to see Philly. Like they got to be healthy too, because that's been the thing. They've been very patient, and they'll draft guys knowing that they're not going to play right away. But it looks like it's all coming together with Dario and Embiid and Simmons and now Markelle. This is going to be fun, man. Like this looks like a team that maybe 2-3 years from now, when LeBron is finally too old to carry Cleveland, they can be the ones to match up with Boston and for supremacy in the Eastern Conference, and they look like they're going to be good for a little while if they stay healthy, man.
Right.
It's
so I've been trying to explain some of that.
It must be nice, Philly. It must be nice.
I've been trying to explain some of that to some non-Sixers fans recently. I've been having a lot of conversations about what's going on and what they've been doing. You know, people are telling me, well, the Sixers are cursed anyway. If you get drafted there, you're going to break your foot. And you just made a good point, Joel, because actually the only person who actually got drafted and then got hurt was Ben Simmons. Everybody else was drafted hurt because the Sixers were in tank, ultra patience mode.
Right.
And they figure, well, and think about it, the guys that they drafted hurt, they got kind of at bargain spots in the draft because a couple of them were slated to be the number one pick, but weren't the number one pick because of their injury. So they came up on Joel Embiid that way. So if he can stay healthy, and, you know, those are the big ifs. You know, if guys can stay healthy. But I just think the injuries that we've seen over the last year or two, you know, I think the Sixers were just in such a tank mode. I don't think anything was as serious as it seemed. I just think they were trying to keep these dudes until they were ready. What's up with you, B? Are you trusting the process now? Because you haven't been a process truster.
Nah, I got to see the product on the court, and we got a lot of players with injury history. I like Fultz. I'm a huge fan of his. So if he gets taken one, I like that move. I had a question for you. Are we saying that our beloved Sixers are all but done with Okafor at this point? Is he trade bait only? He's out of town, or does he fit in this picture somehow?
His trade, you know, the caller Tobias was talking about somebody's trade value being down. Okafor's trade value is being down. I mean, is down at the moment. So while I could answer that question with a yes, I don't know. With the injury history that everybody keeps referring to, maybe they keep him on the roster, you know, for a little while. I don't know, but
I think the problem with Oak too is his game, his skill set is a bit antiquated for this.
It's a dinosaur skill set.
Right. He's kind of like Vukovic in Orlando or Cantor at OKC. I kind of put them all in the same little boat in that if they're not scoring, like if they're not getting the ball and having a high usage rate and scoring in the post, they're useless. They don't do anything else.
Right.
And their scoring isn't that impactful either. Like it's not like okay, we're gonna get 26 and we're gonna win. It's not like that either. So it's hard to really trust a guy like that, or even trade for a guy like that. Man, I don't know what they're gonna do with him really.
Right, and he's traditional back to the basket. He's not like a new age center.
My problem with him is I agree with what you're saying. I like a post scorer. I like the back to the basket game. Call me antiquated, call me throwback, but he doesn't do anything else. Like defensively, he's having conversations with James Harden, Vince Carter. He's like, look, my old heads told me that defense isn't really important. I can take a rest. I can sit down. And then rebounding-wise, I think he could do more. He's not a bad rebounder, but I'd like to see a bit more hustle and effort on the boards as well. Like, that's not impactful. I think if he hustled more to the boards, he becomes at least a dual threat. Now you're getting buckets from him and you're getting meaningful rebounds. But defensively, my God, he ain't protected nothing.
If he was to go somewhere and actually be the starter and get minutes, could we compare him to like a Brook Lopez? Could we say that?
Yes. That's a great little bit better rebounder, but not much.
Maybe. I think Brook has a little bit more skill offensively than Oak. Brook kind of brings it out to 25 feet now. Brook chucks it like 2-3 times a game from three now, right? That doesn't necessarily mean Okafor can't or won't, because Brook wasn't really a three-point shooter when he came to the league either. So Oak can evolve into that.
But those are the skills you develop when you play for a bad team. You play for the Nets.
Yeah, I don't know. Being able to chuck it from 25 doesn't necessarily, to me, doesn't necessarily mean skill. That just means, all right, we can tuck him in the corner and you can get a big man out of the lane.
It's not like remember that game the T-Wolves did this was a long time ago when they wanted to tank because if they would have won, they would have owed the pick to the Clippers, and they put Mark Madsen out there chucking 7 threes, and they lost on purpose. That's not what Brook Lopez does. Brook Lopez is a threat from there. Like, you can't leave him open from there anymore. He's gonna knock it down. So it is a skill. But I get what you're saying, though.
All right, so so as far as the trade goes, and like I said, B, he's still not trying to trust the process. But if you're talking about health, B, like, health is a concern. I mean, that's a risk in any sport at any given time. You gotta like what they've put together so far, at least on paper. Yeah. It's about. I like
Embiid for star quality, star power, and entertainment value. I mean, I know what he could be if healthy, but there's levels even to that. Like, yeah, you're always worried about health, but with a guy who's a big, who has had foot problems and lower body problems, like, I'm more concerned. I am more concerned about his health. I really feel like, especially him, because I feel like he's good enough to bring attention back to his position. He's good enough, I think, talent-wise, but if he's not on the court because of injury, then that won't happen. Or if he becomes too much of a superstar in his own mind, it may not happen either. But I'm concerned about his health. I'm concerned.
All right, fair enough. But the process is what it is. Even though you're concerned about health, they still put together a nice young core. Now it's just time to go out there and build it on the court. But
they better than the Knicks.
Well,
that ain't hard
for me, as far as the trade goes, I'm like Joel. I think it was probably a good trade on both sides. But first of all, I'm not one of. I think like average fans always judge trades, like they judge the trade for the two teams in the trade against each other. Like, I don't say, oh, this team won the trade, because most of the time teams are trading, they have their own agenda. So just because this team may get better because of the trade than the other team doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad trade. Like, I go back to the Pau Gasol trade. When I think about that, people are always saying, oh, they just gave the Lakers this and they got robbed. Actually, that was a very good trade for the Grizzlies. People think of it that way because the Lakers were one player away from winning the championship. The Grizzlies weren't. So the Grizzlies, what they did with that move, flipped them into a very good position over the last, 5 to 7 years or so. They just weren't a player away from the championship like the Lakers were. But that was a great trade on both sides, in my opinion. But
and then when you talk about your average fan, you're dealing with the culture of immediacy. So they're looking to see immediate results. Try explaining trade strategy and personnel strategy to the casual fan, and you're going to lose them like they're looking at Chinese algebra.
And I personally think Mark is better than Powell, but hey, we didn't know that back then. So Paul George, of course, his name is flying everywhere because he told the Pacers that he's not going to re-sign with them after next season. So the Pacers are doing what they have to do at this point. If they get anything for him, then they need to trade him now. Or if they want to wait before the trade deadline, they can do that as well. But what's the point at this particular juncture? So the phones are lighting up. Of course, Cleveland tried to be a player in this, but Cleveland doesn't really have they don't have what teams want. They're trying to throw Love into the mix. And like we talked about earlier, for a team that's going to call themselves rebuilding, Love is not the kind of asset that they want. I mean, for me to trade for Love, and I'm not a team that's like a player away right now, like his contract would have to be expiring like in the next 15 minutes, literally, for me to.
I would have to. I would have to know I can trade him right away to another team and get something that I wouldn't have got for George.
Right.
Like
Kind of making a deal ahead. Yeah. Like, look, I think I can get Love. What do y'all want to give me for him? Type of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So where do you guys think Paul George will end up with the Lakers sooner than later? Because by all accounts, that's where he wants to end up once he's a free agent, if he makes it to that point. Do you guys think he'll make it to LA now, or are other teams too thirsty right now?
It's a funny situation. I think GMs play games as well as, players on the court. So I don't know whether Larry Bird would probably try and stick the Lakers up just to throw some sand in the crawl of his
Larry
good
Bird
friend.
He's done, so it ain't gonna be Bird.
Yeah, that's right. He's done. So it ain't gonna be Bird.
It's Pritchard.
Kevin Pritchard. Yeah.
Kevin Pritchard. I still feel the same way. I feel like what do the Lakers have that the Pacers?
Well, they already got rid of D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo,
can't trade him Russell.
Right.
My question is, even by you saying that they'll stick him up, what leverage do the Pacers really have to fleece any team at this point?
Yeah,
because he's already made he made it public that he's not going to re-sign. So they're in desperation mode, try to get anything they can get. Like when I was hearing that, in the Lakers talks, the number 2 pick would be in play. I don't understand why that would be the case. Why would I give you that if I know he's going to leave and come here next year? If worse come to worse, I can just wait it out. So why give up what could potentially be Lonzo Ball playing next to Paul George?
That's what both of them should do. That's what the Lakers and Paul George should do. They should learn from the cautionary tale of Carmelo Anthony and the trade of 2010. Mm-hmm. When the Knicks pretty much gave up every young asset they had to get a player they would have been able to sign anyway, and they just waited 3 months.
It doesn't make sense to give up any assets because you're making your team weaker.
Yes, they need to chill. Just let Paul George play the year out. Hope he doesn't, get hurt, and just sign him when he gets there, man. Because if not,
I hope they don't trade him somewhere else and he wins a championship and think they can do it again.
I doubt he's gonna.
Where do you guys place Paul George on the superstar meter? Not even on the superstar meter, on the impact meter. Because I'm more concerned with impact. When the Cavs basically laid the schlong on the Pacers in the first round, I was a little disappointed. Not to say that the Cavs wouldn't have won, but to see them kind of get swept, I thought Paul George was more impactful than that. I thought that he was worth a win or two. What are your thoughts on where his level of impact is now as a premier wing?
I would say not by himself, but, they came close. It's not like they didn't get blown out of that series. You look at a sweep, and a lot of people just assume, they just kicked their ass. But they're competitive games, and most of that was probably because of Paul George. But I see what I guess to answer your question, Paul George would be great probably as a number 2 guy on a championship caliber team. What do you think, Joel?
I agree. I think Paul George is somewhere, if I were to just rank, he'd be somewhere between 13 and 20. I think that's a pretty big number, like a big gap, rather. But, I think top 5, top 6 is kind of the same for everybody. But once you get to like 9, 10, 11, it's kind of, it kind of gets a little gray.
Yeah.
He's somewhere in there, I'd say.
Right.
So then,
in skill, Paul George is one of my favorite players in the league, but I know better than
I know. That's why I asked that.
But yeah.
When I think about what's at the three, so you say LeBron automatically is number 1. Kevin Durant is number 2. Kawhi, struggle braids recently released from captivity. Would he be the third best 3-man? And then I guess Paul George is fourth.
Oh, you're just going small forwards now.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Just going small forward.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, what position do you put Giannis?
Right. You can play any goddamn position. But
I forgot about him. I take him over LeBron.
Oh, Christ.
I take him over LeBron. My man can play the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
I mean,
but
I probably put him fifth. I think Giannis is a small forward, so I would put him ahead of George. But I do think George can take over a game better than Giannis can right now.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, I think it's a confidence, a maturity thing. Like, just raw talent. Giannis is probably better than everybody at this point. But I don't know if I would put him over Paul George yet. And it's because of what you're saying. Like, Paul George, he's a little more polished as a player. So in a situation where you need somebody to just go back and forth with another team or another superstar and kind of take over a game, I would definitely go Paul George before I go Giannis. But Giannis is going to, things are going to – he plays, the game comes to him. He takes what comes to him, and his numbers always end up crazy. But I don't know if you need him in a certain situation, if he's ready for that kind of pressure yet. So that's probably the only –
He's got that one move. That one move where if he spins off the post up, he turns towards the baseline. Once his back foot catches up to the foot that made the move on the spin, he's at the basket already. Like, it don't matter where he's posting up from. He can post up 17 feet, 20 feet. He just takes one.
He could post from 18 and take one bounce, and he's long.
He's already at the basket. I was watching. I think he played against Toronto. I'm like, Jesus, how do you stop this guy? He can't shoot though. So that's so if he gets that, then.
Joe, I definitely want to talk to you about what's going on in New York. But before we do that, just want to talk briefly about what the hell is going on in Cleveland. Like, you go to 3 straight NBA finals, and your GM doesn't get his contract renewed. They're talking to Chauncey Billups. Reportedly, players are telling free agents, well, not free agents, but people who are on the trade block, like Jimmy Butler, people that wanted him to come there at first to try to join what they had are telling him now to do whatever you can not to get traded here. What the hell is going on here? Like, what's happening in Cleveland right now? Who do y'all put this on?
I put it on the guy who it should be blamed. It's all on Raymond James, man.
God damn. Come on, B.
No, I for different reasons probably.
What?
I kind of agree, probably for different reasons than B. But
he is
Joel,
the GM.
what do you think?
You
tell me what you think.
It's not just hate.
No.
It's not just hate, Joel. It's not hate.
No.
My man plays GM, and he puts them in these situations.
Were it not for him having LeBron James, okay, Dan Gilbert might be the worst owner in the NBA. The worst owner. He is horrible.
Worse than Dolan?
Man, I try to forget Dolan's an owner. Like Dolan's in like his own world. All right, from all the sane owners, he's the worst one. He had Griffin, right? Griffin was the one that put that team together with LeBron, right? Allegedly, because LeBron's the GM. He left the first time, LeBron, right? And Dan Gilbert writes that slave owner letter that he wrote, upset when LeBron left, right? Gets LeBron back.
Right.
That's why I'm mad that LeBron ever came back to play for this man.
Right. He gets LeBron, and they still beef. Like, they still argue. They still fight over things. Like, yo, you have the best player in the league. Yo, just let this run go. Like, let enjoy this run. Why do you have to do it your way? You don't know shit about basketball. You're just a billionaire who's just so happy to own a basketball team. Let them rock. Let it happen. Now you're gonna hire Chauncey Billups, right? Chauncey Billups, when you hear him on ABC, he sounds like he's stuck in 2004. Like he sounds like
he's gonna put together a Piston type team, and they're gonna get smacked every night.
They're gonna get crushed.
every night.
They're gonna get crushed, man. And it's not gonna be good. And they're gonna pin it on LeBron, and LeBron's gonna leave, and everybody's gonna start calling him a coward or a chicken again because he left a bad situation. But you see the seeds being planted here. Like this is a horrible situation. You know what it is for you to go to the finals 3 years in a row, and teams are telling y'all, players who's been on all three teams telling you, yo, don't come here. You know what that is, yo? That's terrible.
But
you got people.
Let me tell you why, because I don't hate LeBron like B. So
I don't hate LeBron, man.
This is totally objective here. I think LeBron does have to wear a big portion of this because David Griffin basically did everything. Is his name David, or did I make that up? Whatever his name is. Griffin did everything that LeBron wanted him to do. You have to cater to the king. Like, you have to. There's nothing else you can do. You like Joel said, you got him back. So now it's like, okay, we're lucky to get him back. So we have to do everything he wants us to do in order to make this team an immediate contender and be able to do that maybe for the next 3 or 4 years. On the other hand, what people aren't realizing, and I'm never the dude who wants to take up for Dan Gilbert in any way whatsoever. But when these players leave teams and run around and join each other and all that, everybody cops out and talks about it's a business. It's a business decision. Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers, in the year that they won the championship, they lost $40 million. Like, so the owner of the team, I mean, he's first and foremost a businessman. So how many times, because your GM has to run around and keep doing everything that your superstar wants them to do, meanwhile, y'all are successful as a team, but you're taking a bath as an owner because the numbers haven't even come out for this year yet, but it's going to be even worse. When he lost $40 million in 2016, whenever they won the title, it's because his payroll was like $115 million. They were paying $54 million in luxury tax because you point them out, we sign them. They were doing everything to keep the king happy. This year, their payroll went up another $15 million to like $130. I'm not even sure what they were paying in luxury taxes this year, but he's gonna take a bigger loss. Now, the franchise has moved up from like 19 to 12 as far as valuation. So if he was to sell it, he would make more money than he could have ever expected to make. But at this point in his year-to-year operations, this dude is taking a bath, and we want to give the players the cop out like it's a business, but nobody's looking at the owner as being a business, and everybody's saying, "Oh, just sign him. Championships is the reason we do this." But in all actuality, these dudes, because we talk about Dolan. Dolan might be one of the worst owners in our eyes because we're looking at it from a sports perspective, but Dolan is getting money. He don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So that's the only reason I'm saying that. And I think that's why Gilbert and Griffin had whatever falling out they had, because he probably said, look, no, we can't keep doing this. And I'm sure they didn't agree on that because as long as you got LeBron there. And one more, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be gunning on y'all, but another reason that I think players might be telling like cats like Jimmy Butler, don't come here, because the whispers are already out that LeBron is probably going to leave next year. So it's like, why come here, try to get these dudes to commit long term, then LeBron bounces and now they're stuck in a bad situation in Cleveland, a town that nobody wants to live in, one. But that's why I think LeBron has to wear some of this, because everything they've done in the past 3 years was to cater to him. So maybe not directly, because it might be a little bit of hyperbole when everybody says LeBron is the GM, because maybe he doesn't handpick the players, but we all know everything they do is in an effort to please him. So he has to wear some of this, man. He got to.
Okay. No, I'm not saying LeBron is full blame. He can't be the first name you think of. Dan Gilbert has yet, as all the GMs he's had since he's been owner, he's yet to give any one of them a second contract. Not one. He's never given a head coach a second contract. He's fired all of them. All of them. He's fired them and still paying them. He's still paying Mike Brown. So
I was about to bring that up. Joel.
A lot of it is on him. He's still playing. David Blatt. He's still paying Mike Brown.
Whose fault is it that he's still paying Mike Brown and David Blatt? Why did they fire Mike Brown after bringing him back? Because they found out they had a chance to get LeBron back. LeBron did not want to play for him. So you got to go, Mike Brown. David Blatt comes in. LeBron doesn't really feel him. You got to go, David Blatt. So, like, all of the stuff that you're putting on the owner, like he's still paying them. He doesn't give them second contracts. Yo, those two coaches got fired because the superstar didn't want them there. So that's the only reason. Like, I'm not going to put it all on LeBron because they're just functional. They're the most dysfunctional championship team we've probably ever seen at this point. But everything that you're saying is a direct result of them trying to please you.
I would do it though. First, they're like the Billy Martin, Reggie Jackson Yankees, right? Just not as volatile. But it's
Billy Martin.
You know, it's the politically correct version. But yo, I don't know, man. I don't like Dan. I've never liked Dan Gilbert. I mean, I don't want to say I never liked him. I didn't give a shit about him until the letter came out. But once the letter came out, I was like, you know what, yo, I'm not fucking with you ever. Like I can't. Yeah, I can't.
That's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. Like I'm being objective here by even bringing up the money that he's losing because fans just don't think of that. Like I said, we always give the cop out to the players that it's a business. So you know, y'all hating because they taking their own business and their own life in their hands and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it was a business for these owners way before it was a business for the players. The players grew up doing this because they loved to do it. And then it became a business when they became successful. These dudes got into this as business owners. So you're taking a $40, $50 million bath every year. At some point, this does have to stop. Like, we can't just go sign every damn body because this luxury tax is serious right now. And like you said, all the coaches that you name were coaches that LeBron James didn't want to play for. What are they going to do? Say no? No. You got to do what he wants you to do.
Who's going to GM this team now, though? Chauncey?
Chauncey, he's up for president of basketball operations, so he still would have to hire a GM. And they claim that Chauncey has an experienced GM that he's ready to bring in wherever he ends up signing. I hope he ain't talking about Joe Dumars, but
Chauncey's in trouble, yo. Chauncey don't know he get himself. Yo, they traded 2 first-round picks for Timothy Mozgov. All right, they don't have any assets. They don't have any picks. They don't have any cap space. All right, it might behoove them really to let LeBron go and to start over, man. Like after this year. It really might.
Right. I mean, because you got a championship.
That's the best way to go. That's the best way to go.
It probably is, man. You just let him roll because he seems like he's going again. Everybody's talking L.A. That's funny though, because I would never picture LeBron going west because the East for him seems like an automatic ticket to the finals. So then you have a 50-50 shot every year of winning the title.
I mean, unless if Paul George goes with LeBron, then it's that's
then
fun,
it's a different
right
story. Because if he goes to the Lakers,
two guards,
you might end up with LeBron, Paul George, Lonzo Ball. You know, if he pans out to be what he looks like he could be. And
they got to get rid of Ball and go there.
Oh, you think? Because LeBron's he handles the rock a lot. So Ball.
What Lonzo going to do? Lonzo's going to gain weight.
You're right about that. See, that's why LeBron, in 2 years he might try to come to Philly, because our point guard is our new point guard is a scorer, so he don't need to have the ball. But you're right, Lonzo needs to have the ball. But who knows? Who knows what it's going to be? But it's crazy over there in Cleveland right now. If I'm Chauncey, and I have to take something this year, I take the Atlanta job before I take Cleveland's job. You know what I mean?
Stay in the booth, Chauncey. Stay in the studio, bro.
I mean, I personally don't think Chauncey is that good in the studio either, but I like. But
the only thing that might Chauncey has gone on record as saying he would trade Love for Melo. So, I would do that then. Like, okay, please go look for Cleveland.
All right, well, speaking of that, man, let's go to your New York Knicks, man. What the hell is going on?
Yes.
Why is Phil Jackson publicly, even if you're going to do it, why are you publicly fielding calls and talking about Porzingis possibly being traded? Like, can you make any sense of this?
Okay, so apparently the whole thing started because Phil's a little butthurt that KP didn't go to the exit meeting, the exit interview. He didn't show up to it, and ever since then,
and he has a short memory, because he went and said nobody's ever done that to him in his 30 years in the NBA, and then everybody found out that Shaq skipped his in 2004.
Shaq, yeah. But he's been miffed ever since, and I think that Phil and Melo don't get along, right? That's obvious, and I think Melo has, in Phil's mind, poisoned KP. And KP has taken Melo's side, so he's trying to just clear that whole little wing out and just start over. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, I mean,
how are you going
to
gut your future because of your personal feelings? Come on, Phil.
Oh my God, man, dog.
How do you get rid of KP?
Bro.
No, because he keeps saying if I do that, I'm looking towards the future. The dude is only 21. He is your future.
21.
I can see Melo based on age. Based on age, not because it's his fault. But KP is a kid. He's literally a kid.
Yeah. You could chalk this up to him being naive. Especially Phil. How old is Phil? Phil is in what, his early billions? Phil is old, man. Like he should know this. Phil should know that, this is a 21-year-old kid. He's probably a little naive. He's in his feelings. Melo, he probably looks up to Melo. This is probably something that, we can work on. No, he wants to get rid of him.
But his agent and his brother said that he wants to be in New York. He was venting. He's young. Things happen. But Phil is really acting like he can't let it go. And the thing is, he's doing it publicly. Even if you're going to field calls to see what the market might be for Kristaps Porzingis, why do you just let the media run with it? Like, I don't understand Phil. Sometimes it seems like he just still thinks he's the smartest person in the room, and his ego is out.
That's all it is, yo. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Mike when Mike Shanahan went to the Redskins, and that he had the rings, and he kind of felt like, what, like, why are you questioning what I'm doing? Like, I've won Super Bowls,
he was out of control.
Yeah, and this is kind of similar. The only difference is that Shanahan actually had at least a small modicum of success in Washington, whereas Phil hasn't even done better than his predecessor. The year he got there, the Knicks were a 9 seed. He hasn't even gotten as good as that since in his 3 full years. But it kind of reminds me now,
and he's running around with us, and we're purposely tanking. Wow, he has former MVP Derrick Rose and Melo.
Man, don't. I tell people this all the time, dog.
Noah,
he's trying to the super team. And then he's trying to draft Josh Jackson, who has off-court issues already. He's already been arrested. He's already been suspended. These are red flags, yo. These are character issues here. And you're going to trade KP because of his attitude and draft Josh Jackson? What? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why? If you're gonna do it because of his attitude, then you're gonna have to go and draft a choir boy. You're gonna have to draft, somebody who's clean all the way around as far as injuries and off-court stuff. You can't go and draft Josh Jackson. You can't do that. That's hypocritical.
On another note, just to expand on your Knicks, You mentioned that roster, or Dev, you mentioned that roster. I've watched Derrick Rose. Obviously, he is not Chicago Derrick Rose. But Derrick Rose is still a top 10. To me, he's still a top 10 point guard athletically. Melo gets a bum rap. Melo is still one of the top scorers to me.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? You got Melo.
Melo will thrive with a good team. If he's able to join LeBron, you'll probably see a re-energized Melo. But, I know I ain't with all that.
I don't understand how the Knicks are that bad when at least three of their 5 starters, to me, are all-star, if not borderline all-star caliber players. I don't understand.
Well, because they don't pass the ball, one. So if they can't all be all-star caliber players at the same time. Like if Rose has it going, then Melo's quiet. It's not a night where it's like, oh, Rose gets 25, Melo gets 22, KP gets 19 on 8 of 11 shooting or something. It's never like that. If Rose gets 29 in a game, Melo's got like 17, and KP's got like 14, and vice versa. If KP has a big night, Rose is quiet. It's not all at the same time. They don't complement each other at all. Rose and Melo both need the ball in the same areas of the floor to succeed. You know what I mean? If you give the ball to Melo and you ISO, you can't have Rose, sticking behind the 3-point line. They're gonna leave him there. They're gonna let him shoot the 3 because he's not good there. So it's not like a real good match. You know what I mean? It's just numbers that they can all get, but it's not it's not fluid. It's not it's not
excellent point. Excellent point. Pointed that out a long time ago, and Dev, you and I talked about this with Team USA. For all of Derrick Rose's talent, and this is not a shot at him, for all of his talent, I question his basketball IQ, and really, at the time when Team USA was run, I called him downright stupid, and here's why. When you run the pick and roll, he has a hard time reading off of that pick and roll and reading the situation. For all the slander we give James Harden and his defensive liabilities, the thing that I love about his game is his intelligence and his ability to read the pick and roll. He might be, even though he's not a natural point guard, he might be the best reader of the offense off of that screen and roll. You can't be a point guard and not be able to read, and that would enable the ball movement to be a little bit better. But because Derrick Rose doesn't read that well on the floor, it is just about him scoring.
I was like, are you talking about books or basketball?
When Rose attacks the paint, when Rose attacks the paint, he's not passing it. Like John Wall has made people rich. You know what I mean? He gave a reason nice deal. He's about to make Otto Porter a very rich man too. John Wall hit that corner guy like nobody's business, man. Rose doesn't necessarily have to be Wall when it comes to hitting the corner guy or Harden, because Harden's good at that too. But at least, make the defense think that you're capable of making this pass. He doesn't do it. He doesn't kick the ball out. When he drives, it's going up. He's going to throw up that floater, that one-handed 17-foot jumper that he shoots now, which is insane. But, he's very predictable now. And Rose is always his success has always been predicated on his athleticism. And he's still very athletic, but he's not head and shoulders above everybody else in athleticism anymore. There's people that can see him coming and block his shot or alter his shot without having to foul him. So he's not getting to the line as much as he used to either. So he's just not, he's just not what he used to be, really, man. He's really a sixth man now. If he might go to San Antonio and come off the bench and be instant offense, but you can't have him start as your point guard and think you're going to win some games, because it ain't going to happen.
Let me go to some of these message boards in the chat room. Skyview1, he says Chauncey has signed a 5-year deal as president of basketball ops with the Cavs. He says it's done. I haven't found any other sources, but he's probably right on this. But if we get the official word, then we'll break the breaking news. But
I want to bring up with the Knicks is that we never ever try to rebuild. Like, never. The last, I posted this on my Facebook today. The last player that the Knicks drafted that got a second contract from him. So when his rookie contract was over, they gave him another contract. Was Charlie Ward.
Damn.
All right, that was the last time it happened.
Damn.
Yo!
Shout out to Charlie, too. I
That's
was just
crazy.
talking about Charlie Ward on a college football show about him
That's
being an
crazy.
NBA
How
player
long
for
ago
10
was that?
years.
How
Yo,
long
that's
ago was
crazy.
that, man?
Now,
He was
look,
the
and I'm
last
looking
one,
at
so
the
he-
monitor now. It says coming up, Knicks drama continues. But yo, that's crazy. But that's the thing. A lot of teams don't rebuild, but they use that word like we're rebuilding, and that's why you know, as a Sixers fan, I didn't have any problems with the process. I mean, you just have to know if you're going to do this and you're going to really tear it all the way down and rebuild. You have to know that the fans are going to support you financially, so you have to be okay with that and expect that. So, okay, well, I'm not paying for tickets and buying jerseys of these D-League players that y'all have coming through there. I appreciate as a fan that you're looking long term and not just, you know, going to keep putting Band-Aids on it. The Sixers used to be like sub 500, making the AC, getting ran out of the building in the first round, except for the year when Derrick Rose got hurt and they got lucky and were like one game away. They beat the Bulls, and then in the second round they ran into an old Celtics team, and they were actually one game away from the Eastern Conference Finals. They took them to 7, but it was fool's gold. Like, no Sixers fan in their right mind, and a lot of them weren't in their right mind, could believe that what they were seeing was real or that was improvement. That was just a Band-Aid on the situation, and then the situation got lucky because Derrick Rose got hurt. And then we looked better than we were supposed to look because we played an old Celtics team.
We looked better than we were.
Matched up well against. Other than that, they sucked. So why keep doing that?
Yo, that team, if they would have beat that Celtics team, that would have been the first time ever in basketball history that a series ended in 3 games, because they'd have got to the finals, and
they got swept in 3.
And said, "No, we're not playing."
And like I said, they only looked that way against the Celtics. It was just a matchup thing, young legs versus old legs. But you know, if you fell for that, then you were crazy. So there was a lot of people, including B. Austin. I'm not saying you fell for that, but you just weren't down with the process. And I'm like, why not? LeBron's dominating the East right now. Why not wait this out a few years and build slowly? A lot of trades they made, people didn't understand. They didn't understand why the Rookie of the Year got traded. I tried to tell Austin about Michael Carter Williams not being as good as his stats will tell you he is. Now look at him, and now look what we've done with the pick we got trading him.
Yeah.
So,
I think this just from the outside looking in, like as a Knicks fan, yo, I wish they do what the Sixers were doing, man. Phil Jackson went his first full year, right? They lost. They won 17 games, I think it was. His first full year with the Knicks, right? He traded Tyson Chandler. He traded an expiring contract, a former Defensive Player of the Year. He traded him for Shane Larkin, Sam Dalembert, Jose Calderon, right? Bad trade, okay? Then he traded
Wildenberry.
Then he traded Shumpert and JR for nothing, for Lance Thomas and a bunch of nothing, right?
They
won
champions.
17 games. He's saying that we're rebuilding, we're going to start over, this, that, and the other. What does he do? He gives Melo a max deal. He gives him a no-trade clause. Why would you do that? If you're really rebuilding, you let Melo walk. You don't give him a no-trade clause, right? So then what do you do?
In a rebuild, you don't give anybody a damn no-trade clause.
Yeah,
This is the proof. This is the proof is in the pudding that Popovich is better than Phil, because Phil, in certain situations, if you're asking him to deal with other egos and lead a fully baked team with superstars, that's his forte. But him trying to be a turnaround specialist and turn the Knicks around, rebuild them, I don't think he has the skill set nor the ego or the inclination to do that. That's not his forte, and it's not going to work out in the end.
I agree. 100%,
they gambled on him. They gambled on him being able to attract talent or free agents because of his name, not realizing that doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Who's going to play with Phil Jackson? Like, why would you bring – he hasn't played since, like, 1976. He hasn't been relevant since, like, 04 or 03. Who's going to – like, why would you want to sit there – if you sign with the Knicks, you're not even going to see him every day. You're going to see him, like, twice a week. What is the attraction of coming for Phil Jackson, man? There's no attraction. They don't even want to have lunch with him. LaMarcus Aldridge didn't come here. Greg Monroe told Milwaukee over New York.
I also heard a report, Joel, allegedly, Phil Jackson fell asleep at the workout of a top prospect in the draft.
I believe that. I believe that 100%, man.
Phil, come on. He's looking like an incompetent old man right now. Yo, this is 11 championships. So what are you doing?
Man, I'm so over him, man. I'm so –
all right, let me go to some of these message boards.
I almost missed
we got some conversations going on. Skyview and Shizzy the King are talking in the chat room, and Shizzy was asking Skyview, if you could, would you trade the number 1 pick for Devin Booker to be on the Sixers?
Hell no.
Probably. Probably. I don't know.
I would do it.
How old is Devin Booker? I know
I would do
it too.
Like 20, 21.
When you say it like that, Devin Booker's like 16. Devin's like 16. He's like 16
but the thing
old.
is, the greatest thing that he's ever done in his career is now making everybody question him. They're like, does he care about winning? Because of how, they celebrated that 70 points.
That's
they won the championship. And it's really not fair because a team like Phoenix, they have nothing else to look forward to. They have nothing else to look forward to. But somebody having a good night.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at him being a teenager and being hyped over scoring 72 against grown men. Come on, man. Over analysis there.
Dog,
I'm damn near 40. If I score 40 on someone, I'm letting everyone in the world know.
I was just about to say that. I work out at the same gym. Melo, you know how Melo puts out those little IG videos where he's practicing and all that. I work out at the same gym, right? I see him all the time.
So you work out with Melo, okay?
No, the name, I'm gonna pick that name I just dropped. Give me a second. But the point I'm trying to do, the other day I was playing in that court, right? And I hit like maybe 7 mid-range jumpers in a row, right? And I was so open, right? And I'm 33. I'm out of shape. My beard is bigger than everything on my body right now. I'm not a baller, all right? But I was hot that day, hot. And I saw my mother. What do you think was the first thing I told my mother? I got the ratty for mid-range.
I scored 7 J's on Melo.
I was happy as hell. So if you're 20 years old and you dropping 70 in an NBA game, man, own that shit. Be happy.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
You
know what, Joe? You know what? If he scored 70 and tried to downplay it or tried to act like it was routine, I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't even. I would think, that guy is fugazi. I don't even care about the 70. You don't trust him.
It's real quick. To switch sports, it's why I never really got with Derek Jeter either, because Derek Jeter always gave the right answer. Like I don't think he meant 90% of the shit he said. He just didn't want to get in trouble, so he just kept saying the same little bullshit over and over. And
he had the most PC career of any athlete I've ever seen.
Right.
All right, now look.
Booker would have did that. Would have been tight too.
We got some comments in the. They've been going crazy in the War Room Sports Game Time app on GroupMe. Let's see. Casey Mack, shout out to him. He's been listening. He didn't like your analogy a while back. He said bad analogy on Billy Martin and the Yanks. He said no coach near Martin's stature. Then he said if Philly draft Lonzo, that would put Twitter into overload. What'd you say?
The analogy was just how volatile the Yankees were despite how good they were. And it looks like the Cavs are heading that way. There's no Billy Martin figure on Cleveland. I was just talking about how, despite it seems like nobody liked each other in Cleveland, they still find a way to win. And the Yankees did the same thing.
Right.
And I call it the Billy Martin.
Right.
That's all.
Casey Mack just overthought
good
that.
analogy.
he overthought
good
that.
analogy.
You know, as soon as you use names, people are like, "Oh, you can't compare so and so to so and so." But I got where you were going with that. So the draft is about to start in a few minutes. So before the festivities begin, Dwight Howard was traded again. he's now a Hornet.
Yo,
how the mighty has fallen, bro.
That woman is making her way around a men's league, man.
Oh, you
it's amazing.
The funny thing about it is, the fall off has been crazy, but at this point, he still has a Hall of Fame resume. That's what's crazy.
He's a Hall of Famer, man.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm telling you, B,
don't do that.
He has a Hall of Fame resume.
Don't do that.
If you look at it on paper without his name being there, without you knowing who Dwight Howard is, you'd be like,
then so do I.
That's a Hall of Famer. That's a Hall of Famer, but he's a Hall of Famer just for Miles Plumlee, Michael Bellinelli, and the 41st pick in tonight's draft. They gave Charlotte Dwight Howard and the 31st pick in tonight's draft. So
damn, bro.
That Like you said, how the mighty have fallen. So Adam Silver is up at the podium now. It would be crazy if Philly threw some kind of wrench in this whole thing and drafted like Josh Jackson or somebody. And I actually think that's why Boston was comfortable with coming off the pick, because I started to hear rumors that they were seriously considering taking Josh Jackson. So if you can get an extra pick, still get your man, then it's a win-win situation for them.
That's a win. That's a huge win.
Yeah. But what do y'all think about Josh Jackson? I know we talked earlier about, he had some offensive problems, but as a player, Joel, how good do you think? Like, what do you think his ceiling is? And Philly's on the clock right now, 5 minutes. Josh Jackson, what do you think his ceiling is in the league?
I kind of think
on the court.
I think he's like an Iguodala type player, in that he's really athletic. He can pass the ball. He's a good defender. Good in transition. He just can't shoot. I mean, again, that can always change. Shooting is like the one thing where you can really improve. But just from what I'm seeing, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Iguodala, and that he's not. I don't see him as like an alpha type taking over a game like Jimmy Butler or Kawhi, but he can still fill up the stats and make his impact felt.
So if you come into the league with a rap that you can't shoot and you never become a decent shooter, like what can we attribute that to? Is that just laziness, or is it just in some people's genes? Like Stacey Augmon never became a good shooter. Rajon Rondo never became a good shooter. Like, are they lazy? Or?
I think Rajon Rondo's was a case of protest. If I could be wrong, but just kind of feeling out his personality, dude was probably like, I'm gonna show y'all that I'm gonna be an all-star, and I don't need to shoot. He reminds me of the type that would think that. I'm gonna show you I can get 40 in a playoff game versus LeBron, and I can shoot. And that's the type of guy he.
So you see how he had to fire that unnecessary shot at LeBron just now. He thought we didn't catch it.
What are you talking about? That's the only time I ever saw him get 40. That's the only time I ever saw him get 40, guys. Come on, man.
Going back
I
to
think
this,
that was kind of the game plan too, though, wasn't it? It was just let Rondo go, because nobody else really did anything in that game.
Right. Remember the 2 times they played in the finals, and any time Kobe Bryant played Rondo, he stepped like 7 feet off the dude and dared him to shoot a jump shot.
That
was
Kobe
so
Bryant used to disrespect Rondo's family. Kobe used to disrespect his dad.
Let me get y'all opinion on something. Back to this Sixers-Celtics trade, because I forgot to ask you guys something. because I do think, like I said, I think it was a good deal on both sides. The only thing I'm thinking about Boston, a lot of Boston fans are on Danny Ainge's neck about this whole thing. I just have a feeling they're going to be like apologizing to him in a few weeks. But why in the hell would Danny Ainge agree to the protections that they put on the picks? Because he got the number one pick, but in the next 2 years where he can get a pick back from the Sixers, either be the Lakers pick or the Kings pick in 2019, he can't get the number one pick in any of those drafts. So it's like if the Lakers, don't get Paul George and whoever else they're have their eyes on right now, and they suck again, and they quite feasibly, could get the number one pick, then the Sixers will still get that, because the only way the Celtics get it if it's between 2 and 5. So if it's not between 2 and 5, they get the Kings pick the next year, but that's number one protected. So they can't get it if it's the number one pick. So I'm like, why would Danny Ainge make that kind of I don't get it. Y'all get it?
Mainly, I think it was just because the gap between the first pick and the third pick isn't big. You know what I mean? It's not a big gap, so you can't really give up that much.
So he didn't have that kind of leverage to.
Yeah, that's all. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Also, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Markelle Fultz, because the Sixers stayed true to form. No surprises here. They picked up Markelle Fultz with the number one draft pick. He blew a kiss up to God before they even said it, so I guess he wasn't prepared for no surprises either.
He knew.
And
was speaking.
Danny Ainge's draft record the last few years hasn't been stellar.
Right.
You know, he hasn't really
not in
drafted
the league.
Yeah, like if you look at Boston's best players, he didn't draft any of them. Maybe Avery. He drafted Avery Bradley, right? He's been around for. But other than that,
Avery Bradley.
But even Avery Bradley had to. Even Bradley had to grow into what we think he is now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love
he didn't come out like.
Now that you say that, Dev, what do we think that Avery Bradley is? Because I don't, What do you
when he first came out, he was a defender, not that great of a shooter in my opinion. Now,
I still don't think he's a great shooter.
No, he's not a great shooter. He can shoot compared to what he was.
He's a lot. He's done a lot of things to where every year he's improved. Like this year, he grabbed a ton of rebounds. He attacked the basket a little more. Like every year, he's doing something to make himself better, and you can appreciate that. I don't think he's like a top 5 shooting guard either, but he's a good player. He's a good role player.
Yeah, so a lot of people and Jalen comparing Markelle Fultz is Bradley Beal. Anybody agree?
No.
I'm about to say I don't think I do, but I wanted to get y'all opinion on that. Like Bradley Beal is just now in the playoffs. Just now showed you that he can put the ball on the floor. Bradley Beal to me was close
Bradley
to.
Beal can't dribble. He can't dribble.
But he's showing lately that maybe he can though. Maybe that just wasn't like Bradley Beal and Klay Thompson reminded me a lot of each other until this year when Bradley Beal may have separated himself a little bit in my mind because he looked like in a situation where he does have to put the ball on the ground himself and create something, he can do that. And as great as Klay Thompson is and as good as a shooter he is, I still don't know and don't think Klay Thompson can do that. Like if he's not playing guys that he plays with.
I think Klay can create his own shot. It's just it's more of a time thing. Like you can't give him the ball from like 30 feet and say, here, go get your shot. And he's going to get a good shot, like a mid-range jump shot. He kind of has to be in a certain space, and if he doesn't get a shot in like 2-3 seconds, he's not getting that shot. So
now, Joel, I have talked about on the show before. Probably the most impressive thing that Klay Thompson has ever done in the NBA is probably the same thing that make people question him a little bit. The fact that he scored 60 points in a game with only dribbling the ball 11 times. You're like, damn,
that's fascinating.
He's a hell of a shooter.
That's
but then
amazing.
you think like that further makes anybody's case who say they don't know if Clay can create his own shot. Yo, the dude scored 60 with only dribbling the ball 11 times. That means, you're playing on a team where dudes are setting you up the way you need to be set up. But if you weren't on that team, like, can Klay Thompson be a number one somewhere else in the league?
No,
I don't know if I think so.
No, I don't think you want him as a number one option.
He could be. You're just not gonna win. You're not gonna go.
He's like, sure, you can put him there.
Yeah,
like sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, he could. If you put him on like I don't know, Orlando, right? He'll be the number one guy in Orlando, but you're not gonna. Go
but that's just out of necessity. That shouldn't be because you're like, oh my God, I want Klay Thompson to be my franchise player.
If we're talking about him being like the alpha on a number one team, like on a contending team, nah, that's not him.
So out of necessity, there's some teams where it doesn't matter what he can do and what he can't do, he'll still be the best player on certain teams. But
the Fultz thing is interesting to me. I don't know where they see the Bradley Beal comparison because Fultz is much more of a ball handler than Beal ever was.
Well, don't forget.
I see Fultz.
Don't forget, Jalen Rose has done this for the last maybe 2 drafts, and his comparisons, I don't think anybody on social media ever agrees with his comparisons. So he's just starting to audition right now. Because Lonzo Ball might be next. He might do the obvious. People saying Lonzo compares to Jason Kidd. That might just be because they light skinned from California.
It's light skinned, and they pass. But that's where it stops. That's where it stops.
But Jalen,
Jason Kidd was a great
Jalen will go out on a limb though. He'll say something like Lonzo Ball reminds me of Michael Ray Richardson. Yeah, they are definitely different. But Jalen, he's out of left field with his comparison every draft. I think he's doing it on purpose.
That played in Washington. What was that?
You said Fultz what?
Hello? Yeah. I'm sorry. We were both talking at the same time. My bad.
Go ahead. What did you say?
I was saying that Fultz reminds me of another guy that played in Washington. I think he's more Gilbert Arenas than Bradley Beal to me, and that he can create his own shot. He's got range. I think he's closer to Arenas than Bradley Beal.
Like that.
That's an interesting.
That's a good.
I didn't really think of that.
Whatever it is,
I
I definitely like
much
that.
more.
Definitely ain't Bradley Beal though. What the hell Jalen be talking about? All right,
and Dev tried to give Bradley credit on working on his handle. Okay.
Nah, you gotta give him some credit. The Lakers selection is about to be announced. This shouldn't be a surprise, even though they tried to downplay it. They picked Lonzo.
He's gonna be a
big
bust,
baller,
man.
Brad.
I don't see it.
You think you're gonna be a
I don't
bust?
see it. Man. I'm rooting for him. I like Lonzo. I like his dad too. I'm rooting for him, man. But I don't see it, bro.
With his dad, I'm just like, like I am with anything else. Like, there's certain things about his dad I defend. There's certain things about his dad that I criticize. With me, you never really gonna catch me.
All I do is criticize.
Anybody. I'm never all the way in or all the way out on anybody.
John Kerry.
I think Lonzo's gonna be more like probably like a Ricky Rubio type. Maybe with a jump shot, because his jump shot is a little better. But
somebody
I
that
see them on that level.
A good passer, but not the superstar that they think he's going to be.
Right. Because Ricky Rubio came into the league with a lot of hype too. But I kind of see them on that level.
Plus, you had to wait for
Ricky Rubio has carved out. Ricky Rubio has carved out a very nice career for himself. But with the amount of hype that Ball has. The amount of hype that Ball has, if he compares to Ricky Rubio, that's going to be a flop in the eyes of the media and the eyes of fans.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, his pop set him up to be Steph Curry or somebody.
Yeah, bro.
He said he's gonna be better than Steph Curry.
If these little new dudes that we got running around the NBA in women's clothing, listening to PNB Rock and 21 Savage, if they have any pride about themselves. Everybody will give Lonzo Ball every night. Every night he should get 40.
He definitely has a target on his back, but it's still a situation where I guess his dad figures, like, I'm not going to do this if I don't think he can handle it. And so we'll see. We'll see. Oh, that's funny. I don't know if that was Jalen's comparison, but Ricky Rubio's picture just came up on the screen, so somebody agrees with you.
There you go. I hope it's not Jalen. Better not be Jalen.
Yep.
Yo, guys, I got to take off, nigga. I was supposed to go. Oh, fuck me. I was supposed to go to a draft party in Harlem. I'm a little late, but it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. Real quick.
Absolutely.
Real quick before I go. Andy Reid is up to his old shenanigans again in Kansas City, and this is gonna be fun to watch.
Got a 5-year extension.
Yeah, and he got his GM kicked out after he got the quarterback he wanted, just like he did to Philly. He's up to his old trick. But yeah. I just want to bring it. I know y'all Philly guy. Yo, y'all be good, man. Thank you for having me. Y'all have a good night, man.
All right,
man.
All right. Be easy.
All right, it was good having Joel on to talk about, especially giving us some insight from a New York Knicks fan about that New York Knicks situation, man. I don't know what Phil is doing over there. Like I said, Phil always thinks he's the smartest person in the room. Maybe he's gonna prove it. Skyview in the chat room said Fultz can be a poor man's Westbrook. I sure damn hope so. I don't know, I'm not even going to front like I've seen enough from him to make that assertion or even agree with it. And I will defer to Skyview on that because he's out there on the West Coast, so I'm sure he saw more of.
I've seen enough
Fultz than all of us.
I've seen enough to disagree with him. Westbrook has the type of athleticism that jumps off the screen, that jumps out.
Hold on,
like you can just tell.
Hold on, One second. Lonzo gets drafted, and they interview LeVar Ball. Yo, LeVar Ball is on my mind right now, making faces, saying stuff. And I'm mad that we're on the air because I can't get exactly what he's saying. I know he's saying something crazy that would have me dying right now.
Yo.
Because he's making those faces.
Yeah.
Yo, he's been getting interviewed for the last minute. And Lonzo just got drafted.
He's a caricature, man. And Lonzo is there like Silent Bob. But
Lonzo's not even there.
Could be
somewhere else.
Yo, they didn't even send him to the draft. They just sent the Pop. The Pop was like, I got it. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I think Fultz can be a very good player. Not as dependent on athleticism because he doesn't have Russell Westbrook type of athleticism. The only guy in the draft that has that is Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr. can jump as high as he decides he's going to jump. It could be 12 feet. It could be 14 feet. He's got that Russell Westbrook athleticism. But Fultz, I'm anxious to see what Fultz brings to the table. A combo guy. He could play the 1 and the 2 with Ben Simmons handling the ball. That's what you need. I'm curious, man. I want to see it.
Yeah, no doubt, because that was why they were so pressed to move up to 1 because, they are good players in this draft. This is a pretty deep draft, especially, at the top. They could have gotten they could have come out well talent-wise with the number 3 pick. But as far as fits, like, dude is the perfect fit. If you're going to go ahead, like you just said, B, with this Ben Simmons at point guard experiment, this is the perfect guy for you because he's also a point guard, but he can play off the ball. So if Ben Simmons is handling the ball, then you got your shooting guard because he's tall enough to be that as well in the combo guard form.
Right.
But you have somebody that can guard point guard. I'm not saying can as in he's a great defender, but no matter who he played for, he was going to be in the guard and point guard.
Physically,
so we have somebody because you're not going to put Ben Simmons because they were talking full-time point guard. But I think you'd be silly as hell to put Ben Simmons in front of John Wall or Kyrie Irving or Chris Paul he'd have got run around and run out of the building every night, even though on the offensive end he would have had his advantages. So now you can do this and have Ben Simmons run the point guard, but you have somebody else on the floor who can also run the point guard if called upon. But most importantly, he's a scoring point guard. So you got your shooting guard basically in the point guard's form, and you also have somebody who can D up on the opposing team's point guard,
right,
because Ben Simmons would have got his stuff embarrassed every night. The Celtics pick is about to be announced. We're assuming this is going to be Josh Jackson. Jason Tatum.
I like that.
No.
Oh.
Jason Tatum goes to the Celtics. I think a lot of people might be surprised. I think a lot of people assumed that was going to be Josh Jackson. We've been on the air. Maybe I missed something because the camera was on Josh Jackson before he even made the announcement. Not Josh Jackson, Jason Tatum, before he made the announcement. So maybe we missed some news.
What do you think about Jason Tatum? What do you think about Tatum's game?
See, that's the thing about being in the third spot. It was a great spot for, any team that was in it. That's why I had to, harp on the fit of Markelle Fultz with the Sixers. Like, this spot could have been anybody. And I think they made a good pick with Jason Tatum, but it could have been Tatum. It could have been Jackson. It could have been De'Aaron Fox. At this point, they were sitting in a position where they could have drafted on need, or they could have the best player available. Arguably, they may have just gone best player available, because best player available was, in my opinion, between Josh Jackson and Jason Tatum. So the top two picks is what everybody thought they knew, and then from 3 on is where everything was going to get cloudy, and it's kind of stayed to form like that.
You mentioned Fox, De'Aaron Fox. I feel like he's a little out of control, but I don't think that Ball was that much better, if better at all, than De'Aaron Fox. I think Ball's a little more under control.
I was about to say, even though you saw what you saw in those head-to-head matchups, you got to kind of think about the next level, because we all know that the NBA game is different than the college game. So if you think Ball's game is more suited for the NBA than De'Aaron Fox, then you take him. Or it still might be a thing where, the Lakers took the hometown kid because that would be good for business. He's a big point guard. You got Magic there to tutor him and be a mentor. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons that the Lakers may have done that. I don't know. De'Aaron Fox, I've been listening to his interviews, and he's a very confident guy. Like, if you were just to talk to him, he probably could sell you on either picking him or at least just thinking like, yo, this kid might be something in the NBA. But at the end of the day, you got to go out there and do what you got to do. So,
what you say? See, I like Central.
We gotta get out of here, B. The time flies, when we're having great hoops conversation, especially. So shout out to everybody out there watching the NBA draft. Shout out to the Sixers, Lakers, and Celtics, who've made their 3 first picks already. It's interesting because those 3 traditional franchises look like they could all be coming back. And the NBA is much better when the Lakers, the Celtics, and the 76ers are good and contention. So we might see that in the next few years. The Knicks are always back. The Knicks are always back. So look, we're gonna get out of here.
Salute to our brother Jimmy, man, on his international book tour.
No doubt. Shout out to Jimmy. Like I said, buy his books, both of them, Sports to Book and his new book, Own Your Space and Time. But look, we're gonna holler at y'all next week, man. We want to thank y'all for joining us again for another briefing in the War Room. Shout out to everybody in the chat room on Facebook and Twitter and all the callers who called in to holler at us. If we didn't get to you, that's our bad. We were flowing with the conversation. And shout out to the 60 youngsters who are going to have their lives change maybe forever tonight. Keep working hard, youngsters, but tune in next week live right here or on demand on the WRS Podcast Network for another 2 hours of A1 Sports Talk. We'll recap another week of your favorite games. So until then, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week, enjoy this draft, and we'll see you right back here next time. Be sure to catch our conversations on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our blogs, webcasts, and network podcasts on WarRoomSports.com. Also, make sure you pick up Jimmy's books, like we just told you, sportsthebook.com or WarRoomSports.com. Holler at us on social media so you can find out where to pick up his new book. Not sports related, but still good as well. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we'll see you chunks on top.
Jimmy, know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, PJ, Shot Bay, Lee Austin. I'm shot. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.